Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Wisdom Artificial Intelligence. So, today is March 28th. Let's go ahead and get started for today. I'm bringing you this from my afternoon walk here in Boston, back and at the banks of Charles River. It is a bright, sunny, somewhat chilly day here in Boston, but overall a beautiful day. Today's dose of Rashmi is unconscious intelligence competes and aims to be better than others. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the constant striving to be a better human being. So the theme of being a better human being has been recurring this entire week, and that's the key theme. If we have to go from the AI futures, the current scenario of the race to the conscious grid, and let's examine this from the three-layer Rashmi hierarchy. At layer one or fixed mindset, since you believe your skills are fixed, what invariably ends up happening is you, of course, are competing with others. However, as things change and you do not evolve, you tend to lose more and more, which makes you extremely frustrated. It makes you angry. It makes you very, very resentful of the people who are evolving and who are succeeding. And eventually, your attention gets hijacked and becomes a tool for exploitation by others towards the populist narratives. You can look around the globe. That is what is happening in terms of majority of the populist narratives. Now, at layer two are the growth mindset. At this layer, we are competing with a very fixed objective, and we realize that you win some, you lose some, and you are very good at taking every loss, every setback as a learning lesson and continuing to move forward and grow in this competition. So, it's absolutely a great way to be. And that is what makes successful entrepreneurs. That's what has been the hallmark of anybody successful. So, certainly we should operate in this mode. However, the key issue here is it's still a competition, and the goal is to be better than somebody else. And that is going to perpetuate the race dynamics. And that's what ends up with all the AI futures modeling, that the race dynamics is inevitable. A lot of people tell me, since I use sports analogies very regularly, that sports is the ultimate form of a zero sum competition where you have to win, somebody else has to lose. So, how can I be a fan of sports analogies and talk about this thing about okay, you don't have to compete to be better than others? And so more on that as we continue evolving towards layer three or the growth mindset plus plus. However, if you are purely operating a growth mindset with the aim of being better than others, then absolutely sports is also viewed as a zero sum game. We turn seemingly innocuous sports battles and sports encounters as if they're warlike situations, as happens in when two nations are playing. That's been on display for me growing up every time India and Pakistan play, and that was on display in the recent Winter Olympics. And this is where now, if you go to growth mindset plus plus and staying with the sports analogies and taking example from my favorite sport in the last 20 odd years of my favorite sport, tennis, and the Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal rivalry. They both are contemporaries. They both ended up with spectacular careers, and they both competed against each other for a majority of their career. At the same time, they celebrated each other's wins, each other's careers, and you can see that in the farewells that both of them had as they left the tour, that they genuinely have ended up being amazing friends at the end of this. Each one of them won, sometimes the other one won. And of course, you can clearly see that whoever lost was disappointed. However, then they moved on and celebrated the other person's success. And they have both realized that each one of them has made the other person, as a sports person as well as a human being, better. That is really what sports teaches us, that in order for you to become better, you need a competition. However, you don't necessarily need to view this as the objective is only about being better than the other person. The objective is just being better yourself. And if you do that, Everybody can win together, even in sports. For one particular point, of course, only one person, one side is going to win. However, in the long run, everybody can win together, just like this rivalry demonstrated. And that is where it is our belief that as more and more individuals, organizations, and systems start operating at this growth mindset plus plus or layer three, the AI future scenario will naturally go from a race to conscious grid. I keep saying that in this series, and my AI collaborators keep pushing back that that's not going to be automatic. Individuals have to evolve, the organizations have to evolve, and the collective systems have to evolve. So I fully agree with that, and that is the mission we are on. You can see through these daily doses that I am on a mission for personal improvement every day, and we are about to unveil what the new RASHMI.ai is going to look like, which will be the blueprint for organizations based on integrated intelligence and how organizations can evolve. And then through seeds, we are working on how the wider systems can evolve. So that is the path that organizations, systems also evolve besides individual human beings. And we are on this mission. So if this resonates, reach out. Thank you.